So I'm going to show this to you backwards. This is the Cricut Joy, and it's so small that it can fit on the top of my computer. And you can see that, like, even compared to the size of my hands, it's really nice and compact. And yeah, it just sits right on top of my computer. And when you open it up, what you'll see, let me just open it up here for you. Okay, Cricut Joy. We'll just open the flap open, and inside you see where the paper feed is, and this little gadget here, the little white surrounded by the turquoise there, that is the cutter. And I purchased this. It comes with a smaller mat, but I purchased this from Amazon, and it's a standard grip. It's just longer, so I can cut several cuts all on a longer sheet. And you just feed it in like you would a computer. I take the plastic off, the plastic coating off, and I'm going to show this to you backwards. Actually, I've already made a cut of a very thin sheet of polymer clay, so it would have looked like this. And okay, so all one sheet, right? And I cut the heart out. It's basically, it comes with a program that allows you to create a shape and then cut the shape out of the polymer clay. Now before I could cut that out, you have to, although the cutting board is sticky, what I had to do is I had to tape down the sides. And I could be really careful about taping down the sides, because if it's too bulky from a height standpoint, right, the masking tape is going to add some height. It might not fit underneath the feeder, the tray, the feeder of the tray, and it might not roll down. But you can see that it is very sticky, and you know, when I, right, it is a standard grip. Even for standard grip, it's really sticky. So when you cut it out, let me just remove these. When you cut it out, you'll still see that it's quite, you know, sticky. So if I press down on it, so you had to pull that off. If you press down on it, it still has a tacky kind of feel to it, and you have to protect your cutting sheets afterwards so that they don't lose that tack. When you're finished, you just put it away. It's so small, so compact, excellent, so wonderful. The longer you leave it in, the higher the temperature. With Kato Poly Clay, it will become more and more, it'll bake more and become more stiff. So I only put that sheet, uncooked sheet, in the oven probably for about 20 minutes. Now what you could have done actually is after you've cut those shapes out, you could put it back in the oven and make it that much stiffer. So harden the plastic a little bit more, let it bake a little bit more, but you're going to be putting it into two sheets of paper, in between two sheets of paper, and then you've got your tiles on either sandwiching them. Sandwich the paper, tiles on either side, bottom and top. Now, again, I kind of did this sort of backwards. Normally what you would do is you would cut out the polymer clay sheet to the shape that you want, but you'd also make another cut with paper. Now, I didn't save the file, right? And see how I had to peel that off, right? I have cut it, and I have cut the same shape, but I do believe that because I didn't save the original file, this is probably a little bit smaller. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a pattern. Yeah, so you can see that there's a little bit of a difference by millimeters, but a little bit of a difference. I'm creating a pattern, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, yeah, see, too small, not happy, but we're going to work with it. Now this pattern of paper, I'm going to take some onion skin and I'm going to cover it so that the pattern underneath shows through. Now, again, I did this really quickly because I wanted to get this out to you, but what I should have done and what I would have done is I would have taken that pattern and just glued it with like some glue stick, just so that I can peel it off afterwards and so it wouldn't move. And then I would put the onion skin over top of it and hold that down with maybe some painter's tape again so that I can remove it. Now here what you have is Titebond. It's the only PVA wood glue that I found I could work with without triggering my allergies. I went through, easily about $50, maybe $100, $50 to $100 worth trying some glues, and I reacted badly. I ended up in bed with a stomach ache from some of them. But this one smells like just like regular PVA glue, but it cures really quickly, right? So I have to work fast, and I've sped this up. Now, what you're seeing here is these are strips of cardboard. Okay, I have actually shredded some cardboard and made little, strips, ribbons of the cardboard. I'm using cardboard engineering. So the corrugation goes, and I'll explain that in another video, but the corrugation goes towards the middle of the heart, so that on the outside of the heart, as you'll see, the outer edges, the outer periphery, what's facing outwards is just a flat piece of, the flatter piece of the cardboard. So it'd be like a ribbon and then corrugation on the inside. Again, I'll explain that later. But what I do in my process, and I found this was an excellent way to work, because you conserve the amount of polymer clay that you use while creating a very lightweight piece. I don't know if anybody realizes how heavy polymer clay once baked is. Maybe you don't notice it when you're using it because you're usually doing beading or you're doing some sort of caning, and the pieces that you're working on are relatively small. But with small to medium size projects, it can be very weighty. And what I work on is something that you're going to be wearing on the face. So it can, if it's too heavy, it can mark your skin. So so here what you're looking at here is I've just completed the heart, and it's already dry. It's this Titebond stuff is fantastic. I love working with it. I don't have to wear gloves or anything because it's just like a PVA glue and it peels off your fingers. Okay, now, I didn't do too badly, although, you'll see matching up the heart, there's some pieces sticking out up the top and down the bottom. I can probably fix that at the very end by pushing them through. So now the second thing that you need to do is you're going to do the exact same thing that you did before, but you're doing it on the inside because it's an open heart, right? So what you're creating, you'll see at the very end, what's being created is an open heart with a little bit of a ledge on the inside in case you want to, insert a picture into the heart afterwards. Depends on how you want to finish it. You can insert a picture, you can take some clear, I don't know what it's called, clear acetate, and put it on the inside of the polymer clay heart that you've created to create a little window, and maybe put like some cool little trinkets, like a little arrow, or maybe like a little key to my heart, that sort of thing. It just depends on how you want to finish it. And again, I am no jeweler. I don't do polymer clay jewelry. I don't make polymer clay jewelry. I don't make any sort of little trinkets. I'm purely doing this so I can show you all a different way to use your Kato in dry form. So use Kato dry, meaning, not doing all the cutting and everything pre-bake, but you do a sheet and you make it like a thin paper, and just see how versatile Kato really is. So I'm just doing the same thing, just gluing it down. Pushing it all in. Again, it's sitting on top of onion skin, so the pattern underneath it is not being affected. See, not bad. It's like a little table. Now, one of the things that I do is I actually, when I get to this point, I actually fill in the open areas between the two cardboard pieces with a little bit of fast cast, because it just makes it that much harder. But here I'm just showing you that you can just fill in, the spaces between the corrugation of the front and the inside and the outside part of the corrugated paper with some, either PVA glue. I never tried the regular PVA like Elmer's, but I'm using this Tight Bond wooden trim glue, because it's really quickly, it dries really fast. So just filling it in. It does make it it does stiffen up the cardboard a little bit. The hardboard. It does stiffen the cardboard a little bit. But what's really holding it together to making it stiff right now is actually the onion skin. But we're going to peel that off, so you'll see what I mean. Okay, see, it just comes off your fingers. You just rub it off and wash it off, and you're done. No issue. So the next step is to take all the onion skin off, but I'm not that great with scissors, as I said before. So again, doing it really quickly, trying to get all the onion skin off, because all we really need right now is the cardboard shape. Yeah, so I'm cutting off flaps so that'll be easier for me to bend the flaps back, as you'll see, and cut it off there. I'm, again, not great with scissors. Probably I should have used my snipping scissors for this, but I just wanted to show you real fast. Right? Just cutting some flaps. I have no patience. See, look what happens, okay? I bend it at the back. See, and that one came off no issue, but like, oh no. Oh dear. It's gonna break. Oh, I don't know. Right? And this is what it looks like after you've gotten it all off. Now you're going to do a trial fit. You're going to get the top of the polymer clay heart, put it on for a trial fit, and you can see what's happened is, because I didn't cut the form to the right size originally, there's bits hanging out the end, right there, and some at the top. So basically it's about molding it and squeezing it, tight, so that it'll fit nicely behind your polymer clay cutout. Now this is always the hard part for me. How am I going, finishing? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ribbon of some of the polymer clay sheet, and I'm just going to play with it a little bit to see what that may look like. Now there's a little bit of some nicks there that I'm going to cut that off, And see, I'm going to finish that off. Let me just see. I don't know. Thinking about that one. But I could finish it off with some polymer clay. And that might work. Might work. Might could work. So I thought, you know what? I was a little stiff. So what I did was I had some, paper that I was sort of painting on and experimenting with, and I thought, you know what? Let me just cover it. Let me just cover it instead with something, something that I created, a decorated paper ribbon that I took off a larger sheet of artwork that I was working with experimenting with stamping and my DIY stamping plate made out of silicone. And I mean, working with paper, it's a lot simpler, it's a lot easier. But I got it to go all the way around, and then, I quickly just abandoned the idea because when I started to, the paper was a little wide, and I had to trim it down. And when I started to cover everything up, it just looked like a pile of crapola. So what I should have done is stayed with my original idea, which happens to be, instead of putting that yellow ribbon of paper around the circumference, is just take a Uni Posca pen and paint over the outsides, although it looks kind of matte and not shiny like the front, then actually take a ribbon of polymer clay sheet and surround that with polymer clay. So you have polymer clay on the front and around the edges, and then on the back you can see I just took again some cardboard that I was playing with, experimenting with on the front, colored cardboard. That's what you're seeing through the middle of the heart, and it just worked out that much better. Now for you jewelers, polymer clay jewelers out there, and polymer clay crafters of small items like this heart that I was working on, it's really up to you how you want to finish it, right? I mean, you don't have to do what I did. This is just basically to show you that you can actually get a nice, lightweight polymer clay, for want of a better term, multimedia piece. And you can use your polymer clay, your Kato polymer clay in sheet form, work with it dry, and get some really great results. So I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to showing you some more of my ideas, workarounds, things that I have been using in my workflow, and yeah, experiment with it. See ya.